What is up, everyone? Welcome back. We are going to dive into a technique that some of you might throw. If you're from certain parts of the country, this is a huge deal. But I feel like this has been forgotten over the last probably 5-6 years. I mean, now there's some anglers, and I'll bring them up here in a bit of who I'm talking about that have made a living and killed it on this particular technique. So that what we're going to be talking about is the Carolina rig. Okay, let's dive into it right now. Oh my gosh. So Carolina rig, the ball and chain, that whole deal. It is a technique that catches big fish from shallow water, relatively shallow water, to deep water. It is something about a Carolina rig that just, I don't know what it does, that those fish just love it. I mean, I think finesse tactics like a Mojo rig, it's like a lighter Carolina rig. Some of my first fish I ever caught in my life, of largemouth, I caught them on a Mojo rig, almost like a small Carolina rig with like a little pre-rigged worm. It's actually called a touchdown, a little small worm in Indiana. And over the years, I've actually had some really good events on a Carolina rig and a C rig, and it's been on the smallmouth tournaments a lot of times, but I've also caught some really nice fish for largemouth, fishing for largemouth. One angler, before we dive into this, that comes to mind that I feel like is probably caught more fish over the last 20 years on a Carolina rig is Lloyd Pickett Jr. He fishes the BFLs. I fished against him in the All-American. Phenomenal fisherman, but is a sea rig connoisseur. He knows a little bit about that ball and chain. You know what I'm saying? So he's caught plenty of fish on it. And I've asked several people that fish a Carolina rig some of their tips of why and what they use it and how they use it, whatnot. So it's pretty easy. Cast it out there, drag it around. You can reel it. You can do a lot of different things. But let's dive into how to rig the Carolina rig. So some of you who've not seen this is for you. Okay, so right here, C-rig. This is my box right here. You see this guy, ready to go. He's not the most organized. I actually have to reorganize this box, so don't be hating on my box. So in my box right now, I got this glass bead. Oh, hold on, let's see here. I got a glass bead like that, and then I have this more of a. This is actually a bead from a guy in Indiana. It's a little bit louder. So I've sort of mixed it up, but I do like a bead because it's not necessarily more so for protecting my knot. So there's a lot of different things. You see these typical old ball and chain. This is more so like a Carolina rig egg sinker. That's probably like a 1 ounce is lead. And then you could throw, I even have some VMC tungsten. It's like a 1 ounce in a flipping weight. So I have other stuff, halves for lighter ones and bigger swivels and little deals. So what you're going to need for this is you're probably going to need, I like to have a little bobber stop. Just works for me. You're going to grab your swivel, which I would go, I think it's like a number, like a 10 maybe. That's what I throw. So like an in-between swivel size. You can throw a larger one, but for me, it gets caught up on grass. So that's what I use, a little smaller one. I want to say it's a 10, but I'm not 100% sure. And then probably the all-around, I'm just going to pick this lead weight. You don't really have to go crazy. I do think that sometimes a tungsten weight does give you a little bit more of that feel of what's going on the bottom. And I do use that flipping weight when I'm in grass. So if I'm in grass, I tend to use that flipping weight. Or I actually use... Hold on, I'm going to show you all. I got it over here. These cylinder weights, these tungsten cylinder weights, slider weights, I've been using the 1 ounce in that in the grass too because it slides through there really well. So here's a few different, options. You don't have to, you could go the cheaper route. You catch just as many bass. I've caught hundreds of bass on just an old egg sinker. Oh, here's the cylinder weight right there. That guy. So if you're getting really caught up with Carolina rigging, you might want to grab one of these guys too. It's pretty versatile. Okay. Now you're going to have to select, ultimately, so we got the pegs, we got that. I'm going to pick a little bead. Okay, I got that. And then I'm going to pick a smaller hook. So this is actually a finesse Nico hook, believe it or not. It's a smaller, it's not super lightweight, but I like it, or like a super small, thin diameter, but I like a thinner hook on a Carolina rig, and I'm gonna tell you why here in a second. So now, diving in how to rig this, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna have your main line. Cut this guy off. I'm actually gonna grab, normally I will put 17 to, I'm gonna say 20 to 17 pound test for my main line. Then I'm gonna have, normally my leader line is gonna be a little bit smaller than that. So like a lot of times 14 is what I roll with. So real quick here, I'm gonna put a little bobber stop like this guy right here on my main line. So this is our main line right here. Okay. Before I get too caught up with that, I am going to pick how long I want my leader. This is important. So leader material, and you can get caught up with it, but like, so like I would say you want to go, I'm going to say 2 feet. 2 feet's about it. 24 inches is what I roll with most of the time. There you go. So I got about 2.5 feet, I have something to work with. Okay, let me get a little bit more. Okay. Now, this is the thing. The process of what you need to do. You need to have your leader line. And I'm actually going to tie my hook on there right now. So you're going to tie my hook. This is the finesse Nico. Definitely, I actually use it for drop shotting. I use it for this technique when I'm using smaller soft plastics. So it's actually really good on like a rattle and Ned when I'm fishing for smallmouth. That's what I'll use. So I'm going to have him on. Okay. That's done. Then I'm going to tie my swivel on. Pick the little swivel up, little barrel swivel right there. Tie a Palomar knot. Boom. So I got about 2 feet. Okay. Okay. We're good there. It's about 2 feet. You can go a little bit longer, a little shorter, depending on what you're dealing with. Okay, so now that we got that done, now we're going to go to our main line. Your leader line you want to get done first, because at the end of the day, I tie a Palomar knot, and you probably can tie another knot, but I make it a little bit tougher to deal with, because at the end of the day, like, I go through the whole process of it all. So I'm going to show you guys real quick here. So to use my main line, put my weight on this little bowl, this big old egg sinker, pop him on there. Now this is the thing, that little stopper that we have right there, that's what I sort of keep it there. I don't like it really going way out. It makes it easier to cast when you have a little stopper where your weight's not going way out there. Then I'm gonna put a little bead, depending on what bead you want, whatever bead you want. And this really comes down to more so protecting your knot. I'll show you guys here in a second. And then I am going to actually tie the knot onto my other end of the swivel that I just tied to my leader and my hook, so that way we're good to go. So I'll do that. Pretty simple. Palomar knot, go around, bring that hook through there. It's really not that bad if you don't have another bait, but you're just gonna have to, same thing. Okay. Ready to go, wet it down. Okay. So now we have our ball and chain. You'll see right here, I'm going to show you guys. You'll see that actual bead sort of protects that knot. It sort of goes into that knot, and it protects that knot from breaking or getting messed up by rocks and stuff. That's why I like a bead. Okay, that's my biggest thing. I think it helps a little bit. I will actually even bring, sometimes I'll even bring that little bobber stop up a little bit to where it, hits a little bit differently, but that's sort of the extent of where I have it. Now, going down into the last but not least is rigging. Typical Texas rig, I'm just going to have like a 5-inch lunker log, but I actually use a lot of different things. Now, typically, I would probably recommend more of the Slim Shake, because the Slim Shake has, it's a little bit less salt. You sort of want that bait to float up, okay? So like when I'm selecting baits, like I'll actually want something that has a little bit less salt, that actually allows, like you gotta imagine, like you have this line out here and it's dangling, here's your weight. Sort of like this, there we go. Here's your bait, and as you sort of go over stuff, this sort of floats and sort of darts, and so you jerk it. So you jerk this rod. I've actually done this before, caught some decent fish on it. So you'll drag it, and I'll go, and when I jerk it, it goes, and it'll start floating back down. Doink! And this is the thing, okay, on the hook set on a Carolina rig, and I'll show you guys, I'll do a video on it later on in the summertime. On a hook set on Carolina, you're dragging, right? And it goes doink, doink. It's like a big worm. All right, he's got it. Ready? Pull set all the way through, follow through, got him. There you go. So you can do a lot of different things with the Carolina rig. There's a lot of different plastics. Obviously, change the size of your hook for the plastic that you're going to be fishing. This is probably, you know, you can definitely mess around with stick worms. You can throw lizards. One of my favorites, you know, a small bandito bug catches the fire out of them. Oh, what? Yep, it does. And then you really just whatever you want to throw. Kraken craws, any kind of craw, creature baits, baby brush hogs, you know, there's really just endless amount of stuff. I guess they throw like some minnow style, like fluke style baits. I've heard that as well. So anyway, check it out. The Carolina rig, wanted to dive into it a little bit. A little bit of history of what I know. I've caught a few bass, and I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means. So do not in any way, shape, or form take this video as Jacob Wheeler knows everything about a Carolina rig. No, it's not it. I'm trying to learn this technique. Actually, a lot of times I've hated this technique, but I've actually caught some big fish on it. So I'm trying to sort of mix it in my arsenal. That's the thing, is like, this is the thing about bass fishing. You want to be the student of the game. You want to be a student of the game and ultimately try to learn every technique. If you're a young angler just getting started, or if you're trying to get into professional bass fishing one day, you have aspirations to do that, I recommend you trying to learn every technique and trying to get a couple bites and learning maybe just how to fish those techniques. Even if you're fishing at your local pond or a lake or stocked pond, this is a great time for you guys to learn those techniques. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you got a little tip for me, drop it below. I'm always looking for tips and techniques. If there's a tip on a Carolina rig that I'm not using, I'm sure there's somebody out there in East Texas. Y'all are some ball and chain throwers. You guys drag. I guarantee there's some people over there. I guarantee you Harold Allen's probably drug a Carolina rig around the world in his lifetime. Like literally around the whole world. Like imagine that. Dragging all the way. It's nuts. Anyway, so appreciate you all following along. See y'all next time.